Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, Fountain Pen Focus Day. We're going to be focusing on this here. This is the Leonardo Furore. This is in the white salt colour. Absolutely love the colour of this, but we'll cover that as we go through the video. What we're going to do is take a walk through the body. We'll do some size comparisons, some weights and measurements, a writing sample. Then I'll give you my scores and my thoughts on this pen. So we'll start with the body walkthrough. Just look at this. I'm slowly going to turn this around. I absolutely love this material. So nice. And it's very elegant looking, and beauty being white, you know, you're not limited by ink choice. So we'll start by taking a look at the cap. The cap, we've got like a torpedo type shape, so it comes up to a point. It's tapering out very, very quickly till we get to the top of the clip. The clip is a standard Leonardo clip, so it's going down. We've got the wheel there on the bottom, nice and springy. The body then continues tapering out, but not for far, maybe a third of the way down the clip. Then that taper slowly stops and we come down and we've got a little bit of a straight section. At the bottom of the cap, we've got two silver coloured bands there running in parallel with a little bit of that material in the middle. No writing that I can see on the cap. We then have a very small step down to the body. I'm looking for it, so I know it's there. It's not overly big. We've got another silver ring. That's at the bottom of the body. That's not part of the cap. Then the body itself, I've got to be honest, I think it's already tapering all the way down till we get to another silver coloured ring. And then we've got a blind cap here, which comes off. So if I take that off, this gives you access to the inbuilt converter. I'll show you that in a minute. So you don't need to take the body off if you want to fill the pen or use that converter. Let's pop that back on. As I've said, I just think this is a very elegant, nice looking pen. Let's take off the cap. So we go half, one, about 1 1/4 turns, so it comes up very easily. Then that reveals the section. The section, it's got that nice, I'm going to call it the old Leonardo shape. So we taper down and then we're straight. It doesn't have the concaveness. I really like this section. And then we reveal the Leonardo nib. So this nib, made for them by Yoho. It's a steel nib. It's steel coloured. We've got the breather hole underneath that. We've got the Leonardo logo. And we've got Leonardo and then Italy. I can't actually see anything on the main nib saying what the size is, but on the side we've got 1.1. This is a 1.1 stub nib. So we've got the section. If we unscrew the body, what we'll see is there's a captured converter. Oh, there's less ink in here than I thought. I thought I had a lot more ink. It'll last for today's test though. This captured converter, it's really well seated. It screws in and out, so you don't have to worry. To be honest, you don't ever need to look at the converter if you don't want to, because as I've already said, we've got that blind cap. Me personally, I'd rather take the body off, because then, as we can see here, I can get an idea of my ink levels. But it's a nice large capacity converter. So let's pop this all back together. So that's our quick tour through the body. Let's swap over the view and do some size comparisons. My two standard comparisons, we've got the Pilot Metropolitan and the Lamy Safari. The Furore there, already looking longer than the two of them. Let's take the caps off. Unposted, to be honest, to my eye, they're all very similar in terms of length. That's when they're lined up by the tip of the nib. When we line them up by the section, well, the Leonardo is now shorter than that Lamy Safari. Looking at the nibs, we've got a number 6 nib there on the Leonardo. The other two, they're a lot smaller, very obviously smaller. Let's have a go at posting these. The Leonardo posts quite well. Slightly longer still than the Safari. A lot longer though than the Metropolitan. I'll say it does post well. I mean, that's on solid. You can't, well, if you hit another pen with it, but it doesn't come off in my normal writing. And I personally find it's a bit too long for me. As you see, it's going way too long up there. Unposted, I've got to be honest, this is just about the right size for me. Let's pop that back down. Let's swap over the view and we'll take a look at some pens in roughly the same price range. The pens that I've brought in a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. This is in Blue Green Nebula. That cost me 224 Aussie dollars. The Leonardo, that cost me 230 Aussie dollars. And then I've also brought in a Narwhal 365 from 2021. This is the Cano Cristals, and that was 241 Aussie dollars. The Nautilus, or the 365, that doesn't post. Both the other two do obviously post. What I've done is I brought these in as I normally use them. And I have to use the Pro Gear Slim posted. It's just a little bit too short unposted for me. Let me just show you that. There we are. There's that Pro Gear Slim. The Pro Gear Slim, that is a gold nib. It's 14 karat gold. Whereas the other two pens, they're both steel nibs. Let's pop the caps on these. Here we've got the three pens with the caps on. The Nautilus and Furore, about the same length. Look at that with that Pro Gear Slim. It's so much shorter and narrower than the other two pens. Talking about widths, let's do some weights and measures. Here we've got the rule of measuring. Let's take a look at the length with the cap on. That comes in at 14.5 centimetres. Uncapped, not knock the rule, that comes in at 12.9 centimetres. Posted, get that to sit still, that comes in at 16.6 centimetres. The width of the body at its widest is 1.45 centimetres. The cap, again at the widest, that comes in at 1.56 centimetres. Then the section, we go from 1.03 down here at the narrowest, all the way up to 1.21 at its widest. So a nice size. I quite like this. I find it fits well in my hand and it's nice and comfy when I'm using it. Let's swap over and fetch in the scales of weigh-in. Here we've got the scales of weigh-in. We'll fetch the pen in, the whole pen, 28 grams. The body alone, with a little tiny bit of ink in, 21 grams. The cap, 7 grams. Not the heaviest pen, not the lightest pen I've got. I think this is just about the right for me. It feels really nice when I use it. Let's swap over and we'll fetch in the notepad of testing. Here's the notepad of testing. I use paper, 100 GSM paper. It's got a little bit of a colour to it, so it's slightly cream. It's made in India, but there is a company now in Australia, which is where I got this from. Let's do some writing. So we've got here a Leonardo Furore. It's got a 1.1 stub on it. You can half see that stub nature there already, can't you? When I bought it, I paid 230 Aussie dollars. That was about 18 months ago. The ink in here is by Diamine, and it's Ghost. This ink, it was part of the 2022 Inkvent series. I'm actually quite liking it. I'm not sure if I prefer this or Earl Grey. I've got a separate video looking at both of these together. But yeah, quite like it at the moment. Let's look at drying time. So here's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds and we're dry. Now, full honesty, I'm filming this at the start of February, middle of summer here in Australia. Most days the temperature is well above 30 Celsius, and past couple of days it's been getting close to 40. So temperature is a big impact on papers that I've found, and in the summer things always do seem to dry a lot faster, so just be aware of that. I'm going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen writing. That's nice. There's a nice feedback coming through there. Hopefully that came over on the mic. It doesn't feel like it's catching the paper. It's just nice. Now, I will be honest, I have done a little bit of tuning on this nib, mainly with the bits of micro mesh, because at one time when I was doing some tests on this paper, it did feel quite scratchy. So I've just smoothed it ever so slightly, and it has made a big difference. Let's look and see for the line variation. So this is no pressure going down. This is with some pressure going down. Not that much of a difference. Where we do see a difference, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go across. This is where the stub nature is coming in, so we've got that wider line going down. If I do these, so there's no pressure. This is with a bit of pressure. None with some, none with some. Don't really see much of a difference. Final test. How well does it go across this A4 sheet of paper? Really well, just keeps going and going. I say A4 sheet, so it's got to go quite a distance. No problems at all. So that's my writing test. Let's go and look at my thoughts and the scores for this pen. So we'll start off with pen looks. It's very simple, but it's complex as well. I know, a bit of a contradiction there. I think being one colour really helps, just being that single colour throughout. But then the way we've got this salt pattern in there, so we've got, here we've got some real bright points, we've got dark points there right next to it, really adds an attractiveness to this material. I think it looks really nice. Now, one issue I do get is here with the section. If I fill from a bottle, what seems to happen is I get ink trapped between the section wall and the feed inside. So what I tend to do is when I'm filling this, I actually syringe fill that converter, then I put it back in the pen, just so I can avoid getting the stain in here. Now, the stain in it does wash off, a bit of warm water, and it very quickly comes off. It just doesn't look nice. I mean, especially, I think I had a red ink in this one at one time, and this whole bottom part of the section here, it looked pink. With this grey ink, there is still a little bit of staining, but because it's the grey ink, it's actually quite hard to see. So that's one thing I will say that lets it down. It's very, very minor in the scheme of things because I've got an easy workaround. Pen looks, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Build quality, very good. Exceptional build quality. No problems with it. Had it about 18 months. It's virtually been inked up the whole time. I think there might have been a couple of months when it wasn't. This comes on and off really easy. The cap, even though we're going plastic onto plastic, smooth, just flows really nicely. So for build quality, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Writing experience, very nice. As I've already said, I did have some issues where it felt like it was catching, but a little bit of work with micro mesh soon sorted that. Now it's very smooth, really nice. Hints of feedback, I like my feedback. It doesn't seem to be catching on the paper anymore. Very nice, writes really well. Writing experience, 8 out of 10. Ink flow, again in our test here, no problems with ink flow, it keeps up. Even when I had the problems before where it was catching, the ink flow still wrote really well. Just going to fetch in this. This is Tomoe River paper, 52 GSM. So here we've got Leonardo and Diamine Ghost. As you can see on here, The ink flowing really, really well. Get some nice line variation coming through in my writing. And then again, the flow there at the bottom. So for ink flow, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Comfort. I like the shape. I like the size. I'd have liked it a little bit heavier. I mean, I know you can't get everything you want, because that's a personal thing. I prefer heavier pens. I mean, it's all right, but I think maybe another 10 grams would have been so much nicer. Fits well in the hand. I like this section. It's a shame they seem to be moving away from this section shape now. You know, my fingers just fit there really nice. I hold my pens down near the bottom, so this seems to be just shaped just for my finger and my thumb. The section, it's actually fairly small. You know, you can see there where it's unscrewing. But it's perfect size again for my hand. I really like the whole thing. It's very comfortable. I have shown you it posted. I don't use it posted. I use it unposted. Personal choice. I just think it's too long when it's posted. Comfort, 8 out of 10. Value for money. This is not a cheap pen. $230 steel nib. Not cheap. But looking at the materials, just look at how gorgeous they are. Look at the build quality. Look at the way it writes. Look at the overall package. And there you can see that you can start seeing where it's worth that $230. I was quite happy to have paid that. I think that's quite a reasonable cost. I mean, it's an Italian pen. It's a gorgeous writing pen. It's a gorgeous looking pen. Value for money, I gave this 8 out of 10. So that means the total score for the Leonardo Furore with Diamine Ghost is 8.5 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on the Leonardo Furore? What are your thoughts on Leonardo pens? Do you have any? Do you want to get some? Please drop your comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.